we can get to helping sellers on WAP earn $88 million a month. That's $1 billion a year. So right now we're just under 20 million, so we're 20% of the way there. But that's kind of like over the next year, the targets I want to hit as a business to help sellers make $1 billion a year on WAP.
What is good, guys? We just showed up at the WAP headquarters. We're about to run a quick little interview with the co-founders of WAP. If you guys don't know what WAP is, that's pretty much where I sell my Discord and sell a bunch of other products. Really, not much else to say. We're about to head on up and get to interviewing the co-founders of WAP, you know, ask them some personal questions and then ask them some business questions as well. So let's get into it. All right, here we are in the WAP office, the WAP warehouse with Steven and Cameron. So we're gonna go through and like really just give you guys kind of a behind the scenes look into the co-founders of WAP, and that's obviously where I sell the majority of my products. And you know, if you guys sell online digital services, maybe this is a spot for you guys, because you know, we'll talk more of that as the video goes on. But first, I want you guys to like introduce yourselves. So we'll start off with you, Steven.
Yeah, totally. So I moved around a lot when I was younger, but Cameron and I actually met when we were 13 years old. So we pretty much have a similar story from 13 on. But I guess I was born in SF. I lived in Hawaii for a little bit. I lived in Texas, and I went to high school in Chicago. And that's where Cameron and I met in Chicago. And we basically spent all of high school programming and selling really, really niche pieces of software to different people online. And that was how we got our start.
Yeah, so I grew up in Chicago, just outside of Chicago. Steve and I met when we were 13, reselling, so met almost like over 10 years ago now, just making money online, reselling, doing a bunch of random stuff. I dropped out of high school right when I turned 16, so just went all in on the business stuff, and then kicked off WAP like 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, I think we sold a lot of the similar things that are on WAP today when we were younger.
Got it. Okay, so it was like online stuff, like digital services.
Yeah. It was these things
like
called sneaker
programs.
You know, like you remember like Yeezys, Jordan, all the crazy shit.
You're talking, that's what I did before trading. That's what I did when I was like 15, 16. I would do the Supreme stuff. Yeah, I had like, exactly. I forget what the bot name it was, but I would have like 24 pairs
What did you have? What was your bot?
I forget what it was called, but yeah, no, I was trapping off the sneakers and like the Supreme, all like those collabs. And that's funny because cameraman, also currently still kind of does the sneaker stuff. Okay, so you said that WAP has been up and running for 2.5 years now. So what was like the thought process behind it? You were just like, oh, like we're doing this already, so let's scale out and become the marketplace for this?
Yeah, exactly. I think we figured out a lot of things that worked, and then we basically put it all on a platform to let other people mimic that and do it themselves as well.
Yeah, when we were younger, it was I would focus on marketing and sales, and Steven would focus on programming, and it was really hard to launch a business. So we essentially tried to backtrack it. Like if we were 16 again, we wanted to launch a business, how could we do it in 10 minutes? And that's what WAP is.
Awesome. Okay, and like when you guys started the business, was it the original idea behind it? Is that still what WAP is now, or did it kind of progress and grow into something larger than what you thought it would be?
I think it's always been kind of deep in our mind that we wanted it to be where it is now and where we're going, but I think it's a little bit hard if you're looking at the surface. It's like, oh, it's changed so much over the course of time, which obviously it's gotten a lot of inspiration from our customers and people are asking for different new features. But I think to what Cameron said a little bit ago, when we were younger, I was programming, he was marketing, and that combo works really, really well. So we're trying to just replicate that at scale and with our product so that everyone can take advantage of that crazy scenario that's hard to replicate.
Okay, what have been some, like, I know a lot of people, they usually come in and be like, oh, what is some advice, or like, what have some of like the best things been? I want to ask you guys the opposite. What are some of the biggest bumps in the road that you faced while creating the business, and like biggest issues that you guys had that you had to get past, and then like explain the thought process of like how you got around those issues or problems?
I love that. I think that that's so much better than asking the advice, because I feel like we've gotten a lot of shitty advice.
Yeah.
I think just trying to fight through all the shitty times that happen and have the mental capacity to power through when times are tough is always difficult. I guess specifically, I mean, I think there's been a lot of technical hurdles we've overcome, like having the site go down for long periods of time in the early days was always difficult. Having to figure out how to build products really quickly when customers are demanding them is always so hard. I think that recruiting people to work with us is very challenging, and that was definitely difficult in the early days. I think, what are the like really specific examples?
I think on my side, I think the early days it was not planning, like very short-term mindset. So seeing something jumping on it really quickly for a couple of months and not actually assessing the risk to reward in literally anything we do. So I think in the early days, we got initial traction, then every little glimmer of success we saw, like scaling to a new vertical or these kinds of things, just do them immediately without actually calculating what's the upside here. If it doesn't work, what does it look like? And just going down these rabbit holes instead of planning longer.
Yeah, I feel like right now is a different time for us and we're doing different things and we're being more planning and more thoughtful about what we're doing. But I would actually not recommend doing that at all when you're early. And I would recommend doing exactly how we kind of did a lot of things, which is just super scrappy. We didn't have a lot of thought, we just did. Someone asked for something, we said yes, we did not say no. I think that everyone's like, oh, say no, but I think you should actually be saying yes a lot more than not until you have a good amount of people using your product.
Right, and then once you're more established, that's when you can kind of be like, okay, we have something that's fully working, we figured it out, and now I can kind of be like, all right, now let's game plan, look focus 10 years or 5 years down in the future and be like, okay, how are we going to scale this, and what's the roadmap for that?
Exactly.
Okay, cool. What do you think is the main reason for the success of the business, or even if you guys would even consider the business a success yet, but what was kind of the major thing in both you guys that helped accelerate the business to where it's at now?
I think that we definitely still have not reached the level of success we really want to, but I think that what really has made it work so far is that we both come from a background of having done exactly what our platform is supposed to help people with, and that does a lot. So if you're trying to help people trade, for example, and you don't know how to trade, maybe stop doing that. And I think like you got to have solutions out of problems that you're experiencing yourself, and that's really important. I feel like that's been a big reason for our success. So.
And I think also just getting really close to all the sellers on our platform. Like we have a very close relationship with you overall, and I think just like really listening to people, building a product that helps them, and I think it's just crazy. I mean, there's like thousands of new people signing up every single month to sell. And I think this time in the world is also one of the, like after COVID, a lot of people, they don't want to work a 9 to 5 anymore. They want to do their own thing. So I think that also attributed a lot to it.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so now with that, let's say you had to start everything from scratch again, but you can't do WAP. How are you taking that and putting it into another business? Because a lot of these people, like some people even watch me because they don't even like trading. They're just entrepreneurial people, or they just think I'm funny. Yeah. But most of them are all within the same mindset of like, I want to make money online, or I want to be an entrepreneur. How would you, if you had to start, another business, what would be kind of the foundation and rules and like mindset that you would set going into that?
That's a really good question. I feel like the rules would have to be, what problem am I facing right now that I want to solve that I'd imagine other people are also facing, and just really living and dying by that, and just saying, am I going to use this product every day of my life? And if I'm not, stop building it immediately and try to find something that I would use every day.
Yeah. I think the formula from when we were younger, like when we got into sneaker reselling, was just because sneakers were cool and then we couldn't afford them. Right. And it was like, there's a problem there. So I think just finding something you're actually interested in, like an industry or category you're interested in, trying it out and just seeing where you think you can do it better than someone else and building a product around that. And then if you offer it for free, if you have to charge, whatever it takes, you just get people using it and getting their feedback. Because like some momentum is better than none.
Yeah, 100%. That's something that I say all the time. The passion is like a really big thing in it, where if you're not actually passionate about your work or about your job, who's to say that you're going to be able to work on it forever? Like for trading, I was able to spend 6 to 8 hours a day just because I loved doing it and I loved learning about it. But for some people, they're like, oh, I just want to get into trading for the money. And it's like, how well will you be able to do that? You
probably love looking, it's like so fun to think about and watch charts and shit, and that's like, most people don't have that.
Yeah, and obviously it starts like as that, and like I guess trading's kind of like different than any other business because it really is like the same thing over and over again, but you do get like better at it. And I'm sure you guys noticed as well, like you start off and it starts off as a passion of just like shoes and reselling, and then it turns into more of like a passion of just like growing the business, and you kind of like see how that like expands.
I think it's just like curious, like we're all curious people. I feel like it's so important. We used to trade for sure, like a lot.
How did it go?
Sometimes awful, sometimes amazing.
But
it was always so fun, no matter what,
Yeah, did you guys ever get into crypto at all?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Nice.
I went to FTX Bahamas.
Wow. I don't know if I'm going to say nice or like, I'm sorry. What I always like to do in terms of goal setting is usually I have like really long-term goals that I would like to consider myself really unrealistic. But every time I've done that, I've hit those goals. So I like to set super unrealistic goals, and I'm sure you guys do the same thing. And then like medium-term goals that seem realistic to me, and then short-term goals for me to get to those medium-term goals, and then those medium-term goals end up getting me to those unrealistic goals. I don't know if you guys have this already in mind for WAP, but if you could just, like come up with some right now, what would that be?
Yeah, I love that. I think also, like, just separate point before we answer that, it's so rare to see people that do that and have that mentality. So it's really dope that you do, and I hope everyone that's listening can definitely try and replicate that in their life. But I think it's really scary to go out and say, like, I want to do this, and people are looking at you like, really, dude, you're smoking crack right now. And I think that is, as soon as you pass that hurdle, then it gets a lot easier. But I think that our goal is to make sure that everyone can find their passion and do something really entrepreneurial online and ultimately make a lot of money on the internet. That's what we're trying to do. So I think that how we get there is one seller at a time. And I mean, when we first started, we just go and try and get one seller on the platform. We get 2 sellers on the platform, then we get 10, then we get 100. Then we get 1,000, then we get a couple thousand. Now we're at like 4,000. And then, I mean, long term, we want to get 1 million sellers to be selling and making a full-time living on WOW.
Yeah, I agree. I think going off that, the next big milestone for me kind of is like the medium to high goal is if we can get to helping sellers on WAP earn $88 million a month, that's $1 billion a year. So right now we're just under 20 million, so we're 20% of the way there, but that's kind of like over the next year, the targets I want to hit as a business to help sellers make $1 billion a year on WAP.
Awesome. Well, that was like kind of all the questions that I had, but I want to keep asking you guys questions because I'm fully enjoying this. If you guys were to go into like outside of business, because we've been talking a lot about business tips. I just recently made a video where I was kind of saying like, look, you just have to do what works for you. Like some people are like, oh, wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning, and then there's other people who roll out of bed at 1 and they're millionaires. Like just kind of go into your guys' lifestyle and like how does that incorporate into the business aspect of things?
I can go. I think I think there's kind of like 2 things I've been thinking about recently, which is one is there was a quote that slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Whereas this idea every day of like go crazy and blow everything up, have a crazy day, but slow, like compounding gains, they compound, like it's awesome. So I think it's all about the philosophy of no matter what you do, you should be trying new stuff and just trying to do a little bit better than the day before, and that compounds over time and you can build some really cool shit.
Nice.
I like to travel a lot. I think that's super helpful to bring into day-to-day because you get such an interesting perspective of what other people are looking at each day. And I think that's really, really, really important, especially when you're trying to build a product for hopefully millions and maybe billions of people one day. You literally have to have so much perspective, and you can't get that by just talking to the same people every day.
Right. Yeah, I think that was a huge thing for me, like moving from the States, and even though Puerto Rico is like part of the United States, but it's just like a territory, moving from the United States to Puerto Rico, it was actually crazy. I'm sure like you guys even saw like my like monthly recurring revenue and also my trading. It was insane. Going from the US to Puerto Rico, the MRR 10x. I don't know if you guys saw that. Literally 10x from me moving from the States to Puerto Rico. And then also like just this past month, I had my best month in trading. For me, it was like huge. And I really like how you talked about like just getting a perspective change. I think one of the largest things for me was moving from California to Utah, where I did like my first 2 years of school. And then after that was kind of like this weird in-between period where I dropped out, but I was like still in Utah and I was still surrounded by like this college life, and I was trying to do both, where I was like, oh, I'm like still partying and like hanging out with my college friends and not going all in with my business, but I was still doing the business and I was doing great, and I was still trading and I was doing great. But then when I, you know, like just took the freaking jump, moved to an island, and like where I was like, you know, all I gotta do is just work out here. What else can I do? And for me, it was like just only straight results.
What's your day-to-day been like in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, so honestly, like I would love to say that it's super crazy and like different every day. It's not. With trading, this is another thing. Like ideally, and I tell my followers this all the time, like, hate to break it to you guys, trading is not a long-term game. Like I will ideally want to take myself out of trading because it's active income, you know, like I would much rather just be living purely passively off of businesses, and that's why I've like started several other businesses. But yeah, my day-to-day is usually just like wake up at like 6 a.m. I'll go for a coffee run, like really wake up my mind, make sure like I'm on timing, and then sit down, get on Discord with all the boys, and then trade for like around 2.5 hours, and then after that it's just more work. Like sometimes I'll hop on a Discord call with, you know, like the moderators, like make sure everything's going well in the Discord. Sometimes I have to call like lawyers, accountants for personal stuff or other business stuff. Like I own 3 other businesses, so it's like there's always random stuff popping up where I would love to be like, yeah, I go to the beach and just chillax every single day, whatever. And like, I do kind of make it seem that way in videos, but my days are usually pretty lame. But to me, it's like fun because I'm sure you guys notice it too. I really work from like the time that I wake up and then the time that I go to bed, but my work is fun. I get to go on a golf course and make a freaking YouTube video that's like super fun to make. But that's still like work, so it's fun. Yeah, that's kind of what my day-to-day is. I remember the other point that I just wanted to mention, you guys talking about how you put a lot of value into your customers. I think that's like a huge thing, and I don't know if you guys watch Alex Hermosi, but I watch like all of his videos, and he gives really great business advice, and a lot of what you guys touched on is like just a lot of the points that he hits on as well. And I'm sure like most business owners pretty much reciprocate the same stuff that he says without even watching him. And a lot of what he says is like, one thing that you were saying is like, if you're not good at something, how are you supposed to teach it? Or how are you supposed to actually like offer something about it? Like get good at the thing first. And then along with that is like giving and prioritizing your customer, because like if you are purely just seeking out their money and not retaining them or keeping them on board, what's even the point if like it's just like a one-time sale? And I think that has been my biggest thing with you guys, where you guys reached out to me because I was on Launchpass and then just gave me the full like overview, and I was like, this is just way better. So I was like, awesome, I'll go over. And then you guys like stayed on top of it, made sure that I was doing okay, like, and just like checking in on me, which is like, that's not normal, you know? And I think you guys did a great job at that, and you guys continue to do a great job at that, because I saw my Discord and my like social brand grow along with your guys' company at the same time. And it was like, as I was growing, you guys were growing, and in turn, you guys were giving me help in terms of like Discord moderators and featured on the marketplace, and just like help in terms of random marketing stuff that I wouldn't have ever even thought to ask you guys for, but it was just given. And I think that's something that a lot of you guys should take into account if you guys are starting your own business. It's prioritize the customer and like realize that you want to make it almost like a recurring payment almost, but like once someone buys your product, like don't make it a shitty product.
That's just the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Like try and grow with your customers, whatever it is, right? Even if it's like a t-shirt, you know, like you want to make the t-shirt better, and then also like ask for suggestions like, oh, what can we do better from this, that? And I think you guys have done a great job at that. So thank you guys. And you know, if you guys are starting a business, these guys and WAP is the way to go for sure.
What do your parents think of all this shit?
Oh yeah. So backstory on that, we'll go into the full story, and everyone thinks this is like some like I don't even know, this was like some stupid thing on the internet for a little bit, but my great grandparents started a private school in California. So my parents, very big school people, and now my dad like runs that private school, so still very big school people. So coming out of high school, and like I was trading during high school, and like I was losing money, so it obviously wasn't a good look. They were like, don't ever do this again. And there was like so many times, I can remember like 4 solid times where it was like a phone call or just like an in-person talk, like, you aren't allowed to do this ever again, and you're promising us that you will never do this again.
What did you trade on in your high school?
What do you mean?
Where did you trade?
Liquid exchange.
Oh, offshore brokerages. And I'm sure all the kids on there are doing the same exact thing. I know most of my audience is like high school kids. All you guys are trapping off the offshore brokerage because there's like no KYC, whatever. We'll keep it hush hush, but yeah, that's what I was doing. Yeah, and I don't know, for me, I was just like, I hate when people tell me not to do something, and I was like, I really like doing this, like, why, like, I'm not going to listen, so I just kept doing it. And then, yeah, when I was in college, like, I was started like, you know, making good bread from it, and like, really coming out of high school, I was like making good bread, but like nothing like super substantial. It was like, you know, 10 to 20K a month. But then when I was in college, I was like, it doesn't make any sense anymore for me to be doing this or like learning. I was like, this is full time. And it still took them a while. Like I remember sitting them down and kind of like explaining it to them, and they were like, why are you, like, what happened to never doing this again? So yeah, it was kind of tough. And then there was like also some personal like backstory things. Religion was also involved, where like I left high school, and like the religion that they were a part of wasn't really for me, and like I have nothing against it, it's just like it wasn't really for me. But yeah, now my dad thinks I'm like the coolest dude ever, and I think my mom is still kind of like getting used to it. I think she's still like, I think my dad's like, oh, like you're cool, like you're living in Puerto Rico, like in a house, and like, or literally like the country club that I'm a member of, I'm the youngest active member by 4 years, and it's like they're like most like top like elite freaking place. So it's like it feels good to be like, sorry I didn't listen to you, but like look, I'm doing good now.
Come with me to the country club.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, it started off really rough, but I think now it's getting a lot better. And I think that's like the case with sometimes like a lot of kids where their parents, and like I will say, like they had it was in their best interest to say no to me, because whenever someone asked me, should I start trading? I'm like, no, definitely don't do it. Like, I'm the worst example. And like, I think it's funny because like other business owners sometimes say the same thing. Like, oh, I just like took this leap of faith and kind of like went all in, and it was like on paper, it was a really dumb idea, but it just somehow worked out for me. So like for me, it's super difficult to be like, I don't know, you know, like maybe if you do it, like it'll end up working out like me and all these other people that are successful, but like, you don't know. So it's for me, I'm always like, you know what, don't do it. You could start a business that's like, you know, service based, where it's just like your time and you can make so much more money, versus like trading, it's all dependent on like capital, and like you got to use risk management, fucks with your head because you're playing with money. So yeah,
you should start like a private trading school to follow the family suit in Puerto Rico.
Dude, I should. Yeah, I actually, well,
Just
this
from
is
elementary school. I'm just shipping
Yeah,
kids
you
down.
only learn technical analysis.
Literally, yeah, break that down. Yeah, I'll be the head professor. That is actually something that I kind of want to do, not like on that course like bullshit, but like a kind of like a trading floor almost.
Yeah,
There's
seriously.
one of the long-term goals, you guys got it out of me. But yeah, like a trading floor where already profitable traders like are on there, and like I kind of have like a hedge or a fund set up where they're trading actively with that money, and like I'm also teaching them or like helping them along. You know, they can come to me like, oh, I messed up this week, like I did this, that, but like they're still making money, so like I'm not super concerned about it, you know, and they're making me money, they're making them money. I don't even know what I would compare that to, but that is kind of like one of my long-term goals, to scale out of trading but stay within the trading space, because I love it so much. And it's like, I just don't want to be trading every single morning. Like trading, ideally I don't have like a job, you know, and trading now to me, it's a job where I have, like, I dread waking up in the morning, sitting down and like doing it. Now I find more interest in like businesses, and like the businesses that are still involved with trading, because I love the space and I know a lot about it. But sitting down and like, and people call me crazy because I'm making like a bunch of money when I do trade, but it's just not really enjoyable anymore. And it's like, you know, no one wants to sit down on a chart for like 2 hours a day, and like sometimes you just have to walk away without even taking a trade.
It's a means to the next step.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's another thing that I say all the time. Like trading is very much like a get in and get out, because for me it's like a risk on game. When you're trading, you have to risk money in order to play. So some days you could, you know, step up into your job and lose money. It's like your boss comes up and it's like, bet, wire me, you know, send a wire transfer right now for like this much money. And then like other times you can make a bunch of money. So yeah, it's a love-hate relationship for sure, like the actual like activity of trading. But overall, I love the space and trying to make it overall better for people coming into the space, because it's kind of a nasty space right now, and I think there's still a lot of improvements to be made, and hopefully you guys can be a part of that journey. But thank you guys for letting me interview you. That was freaking awesome. These guys are dope. And if you guys want to sign up with WAP, there's going to be a link in the description. I don't have a code, but use my link, please. But yeah, no, this was awesome. I really appreciate you guys for letting me come into your guys' freaking dope crib and awesome freaking skyline view. This place is sweet. You know, and I can't wait to be partnered with you guys and, you know, grow together as business owners.
Fuck yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Sweet. Peace out.